Situation on or near MSU campus has occurred. Secure in place or evacuate safely. Run, hide, fight. Call 911 to report suspicious activity. This is the MSU police reporting that essentially the shooting is ongoing. The suspect that they're looking for that's responsible for, according to them, two separate shootings, one at Berkey Hall, the other at IM East, which is the intramural building east, about 20 minutes away. And now, according to a young man who is an MSU grad, sending me screenshots of a text message that he just received from MSU police alerting them of the shooting that is ongoing as of 10:04 p.m. To say that this scene is active is an understatement. It is very active right now, so much so that the shooter is not in custody. We know that people are sheltering in place. And we also know that as of 4 minutes ago, there was yet another alert sent to students indicating that perhaps there was another shooting or that the shooting is ongoing. Now, keep in mind, these are automated text messages that go out to students. Is this something that automatically went out to alert them of kind of the standard message, the template that went out to say, hey, stay where you're at because we're still dealing with this? Or is it yet another shooting, perhaps the third incident in which they believe one suspect is responsible? We can't confirm that at the moment, but I can confirm to you that students received yet another text as of 10:04 p.m. from MSU saying, quote, active violence situation on near MSU campus, secure in place or evacuate safely. Run, hide, fight, call 911 to report suspicious activity. We know that this is every parent's worst nightmare, to sit and watch and wonder if everything is okay. But here's the deal. We have to urge you again. MSU police urging everyone, do not rush to the scene. Even the highways and Grand River Avenue leading to campus, it's a really important place right now that MSU police, with the help of other police agencies and FBI, can secure this scene. I know that Michigan State Police also are indicating that they have their hands on this as well.
Yeah, we just have received this from Michigan State Police. It said, please do not go to MSU right now. Yes, it's hard to do when you have loved ones on campus or adjacent to the campus, but it is far too dangerous as this armed suspect is moving in the area and police attempt to take them into custody. As always, scanner traffic is inaccurate. And we also understand, just as of 12 minutes ago, when they talked about the suspect, there is only one suspect that's being reported at this point, and that they're still getting calls, multiple calls of an active shooter on campus. Hold on.
We know that several students are being sent to Sparrow Hospital. We know that several, so Sparrow Hospital is the place where obviously these students who have been shot are taken. Aaron, if you could repeat to Taryn the places that have been cleared one more time. Several places have been cleared of the scene. What are those again, Aaron?
They're Brody, Snyder, Phillips, as we've mentioned before, the Union, Berkey, and Mason Hall. Landon as well, and as we mentioned, Berkey. Now these, it's interesting because this is really spanning. It appears that it was more in the central part of the campus when you talk about IM East or the Union, but then you have Brody, which is on one end of the campus, and then where Randy is Hubbard and Acres. That is the other end of campus. So this is really just the whole area, this whole 2-mile radius, if you will, is being currently just locked down as multiple agencies from all the way from Detroit to, we know, north of Lansing, all across the state, FBI, ATF heading to the scene to be able to get this. Now you're looking at live pictures. We are watching emergency vehicles, police vehicles right now, still rushing to the scene. It is really just a sea of police lights on campus. And just a frightening time for everybody that's involved. I can only imagine how parents are feeling, but please just make sure your students are sheltering in place.
And there you see students who are actually filing out of the buildings on the East Campus there with the help of SWAT, bringing them out safely. There doesn't seem to be at this particular place where they're at a great deal of urgency relative to people running or trying to scurry out. They're simply being escorted out on the east side of campus, out of this dorm room, out of this building, with the help of SWAT that is obviously escorting all these students out as we speak. And so as they're being escorted out, they're obviously going to be taken to safety. Speaking of where people are being taken, those who have been hurt in this shooting have been taken to Sparrow Hospital. As you know, Taryn, of course, Sparrow Hospital is right down the road, so to speak, from East Lansing, right there in Lansing. And so that's the nearest place where they can get the kind of perhaps care that they need for any trauma wounds or anything else that they're dealing with. They have a full emergency room there, obviously ready and open for anybody who's been hurt. But there you look closely, you'll see the SWAT team. You see a young lady and a young man on his phone with another student being escorted out of this particular dorm, again on the east side of campus right now.
And when we're looking at, we're 3 confirmed shooting locations, Berkey Hall, the Union, and Phillips Hall. Landon Hall, as we mentioned, though, that is reportedly being used for a staging area for the victims. So that might be where they're being taken at this point. And it's interesting, we're trying to confirm this information as it's coming in. We do know, though, unfortunately, there are multiple injuries. Still trying to confirm any sort of fatality at this point.
Do we have Randy with us still? Randy, if you're out there, chime on in.
Yeah, guys,
what are you seeing
here
right now? Give us an idea of what you're seeing and what's going on.
Well, right now, looking at a group of students who were just escorted out of, I believe, Acres Hall and now headed towards what I believe to be Hubbard Hall. As Taryn just mentioned, Landon seems to be where they are taking a number of students to as a secure location, a staging location. But what we're looking at right now, a number of students walking over to Hubbard Hall. They just left out what I believe was Acres Hall a few moments ago. And so still waiting for more information from MSU PD. So a very fluid situation, and the information, not a lot of it is being confirmed when we're hearing all, scanner traffic, a number of different sources of information, and things are trickling out, but we don't know for certain how much of it is accurate and what we can actually go with at the moment. And so, but as you guys mentioned earlier, one confirmed shooter. Several people have been hurt. As you mentioned, several people taken to Sparrow Hospital. A number of halls have been searched and cleared, but the suspect, the gunman, still very much on the loose and not yet taken into custody.
Acres Hall is where we find our Randy Wimbley. Right there, you'll see more students being escorted out. This is how close, obviously, as you know at home, this hits to everybody here in Metro Detroit. One of our Fox 2 family members who's in the studio with me right now says his son texted him to say, "Hey, Dad, I'm leaving Acres Hall right now." We're looking at Acres Hall right now. We're looking at the very building in which our guy here on the studio, our friend Bobby, tells us that his son was leaving from. This is Hubbard right now. Next door, right nearby, is where Acres is, and that's where, again, one of our Fox 2 staff members say his son indicated that they were all being escorted out. Listen, you got to remember one thing. If you're not hearing from your loved one right now on campus, that doesn't mean that something happened to them. This is a chaotic scene in which a lot of times when we're hearing from students who say they just had to drop everything and leave, and you're saying, wait a minute, my kid always has their phone with them. They're attached to the hip by their phone. This is a scary situation in which they may be tucking the phone in their pocket, being escorted out like you see these students, and being scurried away into yet another place, in this case, Landon Hall, which is going to be the staging area. So keep in mind right now this is a fluid situation in which they know there's an active shooter on campus, but they want to make sure that every single student is accounted for and is safely placed in the dorm that is the safest. That's Landon Hall right now. So if they're not answering your texts, if they're not answering your calls, it may also be because they're in the process of being transported from one place to another with the phone tucked away as they're running through campus.
And we do know that right now that police have shut down Grand River between, roughly between Division and Abbott. Grand River is where the original shooting scene, or near there, is, from what we understand, Berkey Hall, the Union. We also know the FBI is responding to assist in reports of the active shooter on the campus of Michigan State University, but really MSU Police, if you are following on social media, that is the accurate agency that you want to stick with at this point. Michigan State Police, of course, helping as well, and they are telling people, make sure to shelter in place, and of course, the principles of run, hide, fight. And that is what, unfortunately, so many people are being taught these days with some of these mass shootings that we've unfortunately had to deal with.
You know, one of the young men who we've been speaking with, who just graduated from Michigan State recently, lives just a few minutes away from campus, still has a lot of friends who are active students, said that this was, on the anniversary, near the anniversary of the Marjorie Stoneman high school shooting, and he says that he just remembers that, and right away, that's what goes through his mind, is that he was traumatized then, but he says it keeps getting closer, and it keeps getting closer, these scenes. And now, of course, we know that it went way too close to home. This is a statement from MSU right now saying victims are currently being transported to Sparrow Hospital. Berkey Hall, Snyder, Phillips Hall, Mason Hall, Abbott Hall, Landon Hall, the MSU Union, and Berkey Hall have all been cleared and secured. That should give you at least a moment of pause and perhaps some peace to know that there is some control in this situation that police and law enforcement have around this. FBI on the scene, multiple police agencies saying that these places that we thought just about an hour ago were the scenes of shootings are now secure. Phillips Hall, Mason Hall, Abbott Hall, Landon Hall, those are places that police have gone through and have cleared. The MSU Union cleared. Berkey Hall, the place where the initial shooting call came in at about 8:18 p.m., cleared as well, and they've been secured. Landon Hall right now is where all of the students are being sent to, being taken to from perhaps that particular area in campus. I mean, it's a big campus, and they have a lot of really important young people who are there trying to make sure are okay. More than 45,000 students that they're trying to make sure are okay. How many of them are on campus right now, where they're all heading to? Keep in mind, if you're not hearing from your loved one right now, it may be because they're on their way to one of these safe places. One of these places like Landon Hall, where right now police are staging to make sure that it's safe. Back now live at looking at pictures, you'll see now, start recognizing the decals for a while, and then all of a sudden you'll notice new decals on those police cars. That should give you some solace as well. As right now they have multiple police agencies from all over the state that are descending on East Lansing, ambulances from all over. That's Huron Valley that just pulled up, of course. But you know, East Lansing Police, MSU Police, they were the first to to be there, and then they requested others. Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard said, hey, we're heading there too.
Right now it's 10:20. We're just receiving word that MSU Police will be giving a briefing at 11 p.m. Of course, our information is going to be limited until we really find out who this shooter is, where this person is heading, perhaps a motive that's, of course, going to take days. I'm sure there are a lot of people we know on social media who are saying it and are watching right now, shaking their heads, asking why. How could anybody do this? These are innocent people that are being victims of this senseless shooting. But it appears that there is plenty of law enforcement from several agencies on the campus of Michigan State University as they are working to track this suspect down. Our only description right now is that he was wearing a mask and that he was short. Yeah. That was it at this point, and that he is armed. So that's why everybody right now needs to shelter in place. But as we have showed you through these live pictures, SWAT teams are going into some of these campus halls. Berkey, Snyder, Berkey, we know they're clearing them, safely taking the students out, and then searching and securing these halls. Landon is where many of these students are being taken, the victims, and of course, Sparrow Hospital to be treated.
Keep in mind, again, if you're looking at social media, which of course we expect that you would be at this time, especially if you have a loved one on campus, there were a couple reports that were just flat out false. There are people who are saying things that they're not sure of. What we're trying to make sure of here at Fox 2 is any information you hear on the air here has been confirmed by police. We have to make sure it's confirmed. If you look at social media, they'll say that there are images of the shooter himself that are being escorted by police right now. That doesn't seem to be true based on what we're hearing from police directly to Fox 2, telling us that right now this is still an active situation in which they do not have the shooter in custody. And so if that's true, they can't then have a photograph on social media showing police escorting the shooter. So please don't trust everything you're reading on social media. Understand that we are really working hard to talk to law enforcement and get confirmation from them.
And this is the latest alert issued by MSU that they're saying the police department on the East Lansing campus of MSU, a person is actively shooting on MSU's campus, an active and ongoing situation. Follow the run, hide, fight guidelines. Secure in place. Turn cell phones to silent. Remain quiet. Suspect description, this is all they have at this point. Short male with mask, possibly a black male. And make sure anybody contacts Michigan State University Police to report any sort of unusual or suspicious activity. And that is the latest that we're hearing from MSU Police in terms of information we want to pass along to you.
And while we have the Michigan State Police, as you say, Taryn, you know, this is not a situation where you want to You want to run to the campus. You don't want anybody to interfere with this investigation. So the message is clear from Michigan State Police, as it's going to be safe to say hundreds upon hundreds of law enforcement agents are going to be descending and already have on the campus of Michigan State University. If you know where your young person is on that campus, you don't want to go running in there. They're saying this statement from Michigan State Police essentially said, please do not go to the campus right now. This, right, by the way, is right near the art museum, the Broad Art Museum. This is the scene over there. So we're getting some new angles, multiple angles of what we're seeing here. Many ambulances all throughout that area. That was one of the initial requests that came in at about 8:20 from the scanners, saying they were pushing for more ambulances. We need more backup. We need medical. Because when you have an active shooter situation that has not been yet resolved on a campus this large, you don't know how big it can be. And at this point, we still don't have a full idea as to how many people have been injured because of this active shooter situation. And so if you're asking that question, saying, come on, how come they don't know that yet? It's because we don't want to report unsubstantiated reports. We want to go with what we know.
And this is what we do know at this point. This is a timeline. If you're trying to check how this evening unfolded, at 8:18, shots were fired. The calls were, that was inside Berkey Hall on the northern boundary of campus. And that's where the calls started to come in about the shooting at Berkey Hall. At 9:16, the shooter is believed to be on foot. That's what police reported. 9:26, police reported a second shooting scene at IM East. That's the Intramural Sports Center complex. Many students locked down in there, and we're understanding that they have just been evacuated out. At 9:34, IM East, that's what happened, was being secured. Police report they believe there is just one shooter, and that person is described as a short male wearing a mask, according to MSU. Now, victims are being transported to Sparrow Hospital. We know at this point, Brody, Snyder, Phillips, Mason Hall, Abbott Hall, Landon Hall, and the MS Union, along with Berkey, have been cleared and secured. So those places are considered safe. The shooter is not in those areas, cleared and secured.
We have a student on the phone with us, a former student at Michigan State University, who literally is just a stone's throw away from IM East, one of the shooting scenes. And I want to thank you so much for joining us today. May I ask you, Jordan Robinson, how are you holding up right now? I know this is really tough, but can you give us a description of what you're hearing and seeing around you right outside of that area?
Yeah, first, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Right now, at least in my area, it's a little quiet. They have locked down the main road to my apartment, and we are hearing helicopters overhead. You know, my roommate and I are taking precautions right now, obviously, to make sure that we are safe and secure in our own place right now. So all of our blinds are shut. We're not really looking out too much, just again,
of course,
given the nature of the incident.
You were mentioning earlier that this comes so close to a terrible anniversary that you remember growing up with. You just recently graduated from MSU, and you were talking about the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting that took place on February 14th, several years back. And now you said this is hitting way too close to home.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I was just recently talking to someone that I know. We keep saying it keeps getting closer and closer and closer. It feels like it just keeps coming in. You know, we obviously heard about what happened at Okemos High School last week, and that's just down the road from Michigan State, and here we are dealing with this right now. But, you know, one thing is for sure about Michigan State, if there's anything that I learned, is that we are one community. Regardless of whether we know each other or not, everybody right now is checking in on each other, making sure that we're safe, figuring out everyone's location. And really what we're doing is just, you know, trying to stay strong through all of this right now.
I don't want you to reveal locations, but I just wanted to ask you, when you say that you've been in touch with friends who are on campus right now, can you give us an idea as to what those conversations are like via text or phone?
Yeah, I mean, they're not saying too much right now. They are telling me where their location is, but, you know, obviously I will not reveal that right now. But they are saying that they are sheltering in place right now, just staying where they're basically staying in the last known location that they were in, essentially. So that could be a cafeteria, that could be their resident hall. I have a lot of friends who are off campus as well, both on the other side of Green River, as well as other areas within the East Lansing Okemos area that are also sheltering in place right now. But like I said, it is pretty quiet right now in my area, with the exception of helicopters flying overhead, which it's really bizarre for us, considering, Michigan State's a very active place, given where I live.
Jordan, I wanted to ask you one more question in terms of the correspondence. You're assuring your friends that they're going to be okay. They're hiding right now or sheltering in place, perhaps hiding away from a potential shooter. Those conversations have to be so encouraging for them when you're able to actually text them or speak with them about kind of just encouraging each other. Isn't that important?
Yeah, it's definitely reassuring right now. And, like I just said a second ago, Michigan State is one big community. We are one big family. So just even though I can't physically talk to them right now, just hearing them say that I'm okay, I'm safe. I'm getting periodic updates from them as well, just asking them, have they moved locations, if they've been escorted by police or anything like that. But yeah, it's definitely very reassuring right now.
Have they been, any of your friends that you're talking to, have they told you that they've been moved by police?
The friends that I have talked to, they said that they have not been moved by police, just given where they are on location. I also want to update you right now. I am peeking through my blinds right now. No cars are moving outside from what I'm seeing. All the blinds are shut around me.
Please go.
Again,
Please, Jordan, please shut the blinds and go back to where you were. I don't want you anywhere near a window. Please. Thank you very much for doing that. But please just stay where you were. Stay safe. We want you to be okay, and we don't want any signs from the inside out indicating that someone's in there. So please continue to remain safe and know that we're all thinking of you every step of the way, okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Stay close. Be well.
All right, again, you're looking at live pictures right now where there has been multiple shootings on the campus of Michigan State University. This is the latest from Michigan State University Police. All campus activities are canceled for the next 48 hours. That includes athletics, classes, and all campus-related activities. Please do not come to campus tomorrow. That's from MSU Police. All campus activities are canceled for 48 hours, including athletics, classes, and all campus-related activities. We understand that our own Dina Senafani, who we know has children at Michigan State University, she joins us now on the phone. Hey, Dina, gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm sure this is so tough for you. What are you hearing at this point?
Well, it's challenging. So as a parent, I have been in contact, of course, with other parents who have students there, and of course my kids. At one point, I could not reach my son. He was playing basketball at IM East, and we knew that he had been told to shelter in place there in a racquetball room. And we were listening to police scanners, and we heard some activity. I'm not sure what's been confirmed and what hasn't. That's another thing, is that information is just flying fast and loose. So he was being evacuated from that facility, and we weren't quite able to reach him for a while, but we did. He's safe somewhere, and my daughter is a junior at Michigan State, and she is in an apartment rather close to the Union, and she has been just sheltering in her apartment, trying to, the kids are avoiding windows.
Sure.
They're trying to barricade doors and just trying to stay safe. It's a terrifying situation. I want to go to East Lansing, and I know that I shouldn't do that, so I'm not, and I'm just watching you guys and listening to the scanner and hoping that they can get a suspect in custody.
Now, Dina, I know you want to hold your babies real tight right now, knowing, though, that you've been able to talk to them and that they are safe, I'm sure is a little bit reassuring. What about, those are two locations where we're hearing that the shootings actually happened. Were they able to hear or see anything, your kids?
No, there is so much police activity on campus right now. And there are, with social media, of course, among the kids especially, they're trying to figure things out too. As far as I know, neither one of them heard the gunfire. But as you guys know, both of you Spartans know, that campus it's one of the largest campuses in the United States. We're talking about thousands of acres, about 5,000 acres, I believe. We've got hundreds of buildings on that campus. We've got woods. You've got the Red Cedar River. It is it's a beautiful campus. It's elaborate, and when you think about those hundreds of buildings and looking for a suspect, it's daunting to me. So that is part of the fear that is created as these kids, look out their windows or sneak a peek out the window trying to figure out what's going on out there. There's just so many places that somebody could hide, and that's the terrifying part of this.
Well, and I think that, Dina, I would imagine that it feels a little bit in this really dark hour, somewhat reassuring to know that they have these staging areas like Landon Hall. When you saw those pictures of students being escorted by SWAT, not a picture anyone wants to see, but it is reassuring that those young people are being taken somewhere where they are then protected in almost the safest place on campus at that point, right? When police are surrounding and making a staging area, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's what we are telling my other daughter who is here with us, a senior in high school. And we're telling her that your brother and sister are safe, especially your brother who had to be evacuated from from sheltering in place in that racquetball room. He's now safe somewhere. We don't know exactly where, but we're going to believe that he is safe for now. The terrifying thing is the weapon that we're hearing about, a long gun, an AK-47. I don't want to say stuff that we don't have confirmed yet, guys, so you can correct anything. But, these are powerful weapons that can just, you guys know.
Yeah, hurt a lot of people, and we certainly we're waiting on confirmation from MSU police and investigators there in Ingham County to kind of give us a lay of the land. And that, by the way, Dina, is happening in about 35 minutes when they'll be holding a news conference where we'll get some facts here about how many people were hurt. Were there any fatalities? But I have to ask you, maybe actually just ask you to comment a little bit about this, because one thing that we keep telling moms and dads, just like you, Dina, out there is that, hey, you know what? You haven't heard from your son or daughter. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong. In fact, it could mean that something right happened here. It could mean that they've been put in a place where they're kind of being escorted to a safer place. Not having contact with your son or daughter can be really scary, but it seems as though you're having that issue with your kids and they're okay now.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The cell phone batteries die. There can be some weird signal areas, especially now with all this activity. So that is really true, Roop. We were panicked for a minute there when we couldn't reach my son, Casey, and we had people trying to reach him from from all fronts.
Sure. And
eventually he said, guys, I'm being evacuated. I'm on the move. And there's a protocol to that, as you know. And unfortunately, as we know from watching what happened in Oxford, when kids or when anyone's being evacuated from a shooting scene, it's a hands up in the air, because they have to be very clear that there's no suspects within the groups of kids being evacuated, right? So it's hands in the air. And so certainly if you haven't heard from your student, I would say that don't panic. But it is, even though I know my two Michigan State kids are okay, the sickness I feel in the pit of my stomach is, it's just heart-wrenching when I think of all these other parents and of any potential victims. And not just that, but just once again, our little bubble of safety has been shattered. And this thought that these kids are finally going to college. We celebrated that this was the first so-called normal year post-COVID, where they were finally, my junior in college was finally getting to go into buildings and classrooms and feel like a college student. And here we are.
Well, it's a lot. Again. Dina, you also obviously, live nearby or have community that shares a lot of social circles with the folks out in Oxford. And when that shooting happened, it's a terrible day, still dark, still so hard to handle and look at those pictures. Your kids were friends with people who went to school there, and now this is happening at the college campus. One student I spoke with just moments ago said, this is getting closer and closer, and this is just too close. And not that you want it to happen anywhere, but this is too much for young people who are still just trying to live their lives and get a, you wonder how they look at the world and how they look at the world through this lens of all these tragedies that they have to keep seeing over and over again.
Yeah, I mean the shock of and remember that the kids are not just watching the news and seeing, perhaps well researched and reasonable reporting. Things are flying on social media between these kids of all ages, and you're exactly right, Roop. And these high school kids and younger, unfortunately, live with a fear. They've been through drills, and they now live with this fear. And when something like this happens again, whether you have a brother and sister at Michigan State, like my high school daughter does, or not, and whether you were friends with Oxford victims, it just reopens that wound. And it is. I know it's the reality we live in right now, but it's tough. It doesn't get any easier.
Time now is 10:40. We're talking to Fox 2's Dina Centofanti. You recognize her voice, but we didn't want to be talking to her about this right now. Her two kids on campus at Michigan State University on a very dark night in East Lansing, 8:18 p.m. at Berkey Hall. Reports of shots fired. Just about 45 minutes later at IM East, the intramural building in which one of Dina's children was playing basketball inside, when all of a sudden they were told to shelter in place in the racquetball room, and then now they're being taken to safety. Multiple shootings taking place on the campus of Michigan State University, and in about 20 minutes time we'll be hearing from law enforcement authorities, including East Lansing Police, MSU Police, and perhaps the FBI and others who are there right now to try to tell us what the latest is. Here's what we know so far. There is one person who is, go ahead. Is Dina?
She's done. She's done.
Dina's done. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I thought I heard you say Dina was back. Thank you, Dina, for your time today. And please know that we're all putting out a prayer for you and all the other moms and dads out there whose sons and daughters are on the campus of Michigan State University. As we say, a shooting on the campus of MSU happening at about 8:18 p.m. One call coming in at about 8:18 p.m. of multiple people shot inside of Berkey Hall. 20 minutes away, 45 minutes later, inside the IM East, which is the intramural building, another shooting taking place there. Multiple students hurt. Sparrow Hospital is the place where many students have been taken who have been hurt in this shooting. At this point, we are not making a confirmation on deaths because, honestly, that's just not fair to any mom and dad who's watching if we haven't gotten it completely confirmed from MSU Police. What we do know right now is that there's a possibility of fatalities, but we do know that there are several people who have been hurt and taken to the hospital. Sparrow Hospital, just next door, so to speak, in the city of Lansing. Of course, they're on the East Lansing campus. And in 20 minutes, of course, Taryn, we hope to get more information from law enforcement about the numbers, how many people were shot. And also, the most important thing that you're asking right now outside of that, about student injuries and fatalities, God forbid, is this question. Where is this suspect? We know that this suspect hit these 4 locations, making shots at several locations, including IM East, which is not on this map, but at some point going through Union Hall, Berkey Hall, as we say, Phillips Hall, and then Owen Hall. These are 4 locations we know that the shooter went through. And then on top of that, we're talking about IM East. This shooter, as of right now, is still on the loose on the campus of Michigan State, and that's why moms and dads like Dina and others who are watching are being told, stay where you are. Do not clutter the scene. The minute they have to take one police officer to tell someone to go away or move away, that's one fewer officer that's actually helping with the investigation. So please make sure you respect that.
We're still waiting for word to see if the suspect, the shooter, has been caught yet. You heard Dina say this is an enormous campus, Michigan State University, and on and off campus, where there are plenty of places for this individual to go. So with multiple police agencies on scene, hopefully it's just a matter of time before police are able to track this individual down. Now, right now, I do want to say that residents, students, again, shelter in place. Everything is canceled for the next 48 hours, including athletics, classes, campus-related activities. We're also hearing, and this is what we know at this point, any victim taken to Sparrow Hospital, but school officials, they do say that what areas have been cleared: Brody, Snyder-Phillips, Berkey, Landon, the IM East, and that's good. cleared and secured at this point. Unfortunately, though, we are hearing that there are multiple victims, and but again, everybody is asked to just shelter in place till this individual is caught because he is considered armed and dangerous.
Berkey Hall is a residence hall as well, by the way. I know that's where a lot of the sociology stuff happens, but it is a residence hall in which that shooting first took place at 8:18 p.m. Let's get on the phone right now with an MSU student who's in the middle of all of this right now, Tim Grice. And Tim, first of all, I want you to know that we thank you for joining us under these really tough circumstances. We hope you're okay. Please tell us what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and how this all unfolded tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So the night started. I was just watching my friends at an IM basketball game. The referees had stopped the game and just kind of paused. So they sent us to the racket course and just had a shelter in place. We first heard the shooter was over by the Union and Berkey Hall, so we thought we were safe. But yeah, then we heard over the scanner that they were headed towards IM East. So yeah, it got really quiet really fast. I think we possibly heard a few gunshots, but thankfully the police escorted us out. But yeah, I'm back at my home now, so I'm just praying for everyone out there. Hopefully everyone's okay. So.
Tim, I'm sorry. Did you say you heard several gunshots, and where were you if that's where you had heard?
Yeah, so I was at IM East. I believe I heard gunshots. I can't confirm it, but yeah, it was definitely quite terrifying.
And right now, Tim, are you made at home? You are safe at this point, and you are sheltering in place?
Yes. So this IM East incident that was back in the about an hour and a half ago. So it was a while ago, but.
So at that point, police were they allowed you to go home. They didn't transport you to a certain area. They were allowing everybody that was inside the building at the time to head back to their places.
Yeah.
All right. So when you're talking to friends right now, I'm sure there's a lot of information that is going around the feeling on campus. What are you feeling right now? I'm assuming a lot of fear.
Yeah, no, it's definitely very shocking right now. I'm just bunked up with my roommates, just making sure, just hoping this ends as soon as possible, and just hopefully soon a bit of relief once they catch them. So.
How are you getting your information right now? Is the school notifying you through social media? Are you receiving text messages or emails? How are you getting your up-to-date information as a student?
Yeah, so I'm mainly listening to the radio scanner, but with social media, there's always people just texting around. So I've heard. I for God hope not, but I've heard there may be explosives across campus as well, and I'm just praying that that's not true. So
well, we are too, Tim. But I have to ask you, in terms of official notification from MSU, I know they're sending out those text alerts. One of the students sending one to us about 10:04 p.m. tonight. What did that text message say? Because it seemed as though they were indicating that there could have been yet another scene. Is that what you got from that 10:04 p.m. text as well?
I know MSU has been trying to email us the best they can. Obviously, it's a difficult situation.
Sure.
But yeah, they're trying to alert us as much as possible. I know it's hard. MSU is a big campus. I know I heard that as well. So I'm just yeah.
Have you been able to talk through text to your mom or dad or your relatives?
Yep. I was able to reach out to them. Thank God. I was back at IM East. We were all okay, and then I heard shots, and I was like, "Mom, I'm sorry if I don't make it. I love you." But so it was a little rough. But yeah, I was able to contact them, and we're all good, all safe.
Listen, I got to tell you something, Tim. You're going through something that people twice your age have never been through before. You're doing it with courage. You're doing it by doing the right thing, by getting where you need to go, by texting your parents, making sure that they know you're okay. And we really pray and hope that that text message that you sent to them will never come true for any student there. We hope that, if the very most there were just injuries, but at this point, please know that we're all thinking of you. You got a lot of people praying for East Lansing and for you and the entire family. Okay, Tim?
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, to all of Lansing, thank you guys so much. Stay strong, and we'll get through it together. So thank you.
We know we will. All right, Tim. Be well. Tim Grice, a student at Michigan State University, saying that he had those awful, chilling moments that you only hear about, it seems, until it happens to you, where you text a mom or dad saying, "If I don't make it, I love you." Those text messages coming out from perhaps so many students today on the campus of East Lansing at Michigan State University, where we understand multiple people have been shot, multiple shooting scenes beginning at Berkey Hall at 8:18 p.m., about 20 minutes away from Berkey Hall. IM East, the intramural building where this young man, Tim Grice, was. Dina Santafante's son also was in that location. They were able to safely evacuate Tim, Dina's son, so many others out of the IM East. And you saw the pictures kind of like what you're seeing here of law enforcement armed and ready for the challenge to go in and make sure that each and every student that's in these halls is taken out safely and placed in the sheltering place, which is right now Landon Hall. And so we're so glad that each and every one of the students that you've seen in some of the pictures we've been showing you that are leaving the hall, being removed from the hall and being taken to another part of the campus. They've secured a couple areas, including Landon Hall, and that's where these students are sheltering in place. And keep in mind that you really have to remember that this is a tough one for law enforcement. You know, they're sending people from all over the state right now on that campus. And at 11 o'clock, in about 11 minutes, we're going to hear from law enforcement. In the meantime, we had the chance to talk with Sheriff Mike Bouchard about the resources that will no doubtedly be on this campus for some time to come. Take a listen.
Bouchard, what is the latest in terms of how Oakland County is helping?
We got asked to send resources, and so we're going to send everything that we have available to do whatever we can to assist. And,
what do you tell the parents of Metro Detroit, parents of MSU students, in terms of the facts? They're really wanting to know what we really know right now. What do we know?
Well, I think it's really hard to say what we know at this point. In the initial phase of anything, as it starts to unfold, no one really knows exactly what's going on, and the initial information that comes in is oftentimes not factual. So I would urge them to, in communication with their kids or students, tell them to shelter in place, to do what they need to do to barricade their doors.
Hey, that was a taped interview with Sheriff Bouchard. We now have Sheriff Mike Bouchard on the phone with us. He's joining us now live, talking about the resources heading that way right now. Sheriff, what have you been able to gather relative to what's going on the scene right now at the Michigan State campus?
Well, we're in a caravan right now. I'm leading a group of all of our heavy equipment and our special resources and our special tactic kind of equipment and personnel. And then we're meeting at 2 different locations, and then we'll fill in wherever they need us.
What is it that you have with you in terms of the resources? This is the only reassuring thing that the parents who are watching right now could actually see.
Well, we have pretty much anything and everything they would need. We've got armor, so if we need to evacuate anybody or move in between anything to protect anybody, we've got 5 armored vehicles, armored. We've got mobile tactical command. We have mobile SWAT command. We have mobile radios, so we're going to try to patch in to bring all the different agencies together with the ability to patch our radio systems. Pretty much anything that I imagine that they might need, we're bringing. If they don't need it, that's fine. If they need it, we'll have it there.
Taryn Asher with me as well.
And Sheriff, maybe you could talk about when you do arrive, or perhaps how law enforcement goes about tracking down a suspect under these very difficult circumstances when you're dealing with the dark, when you're dealing with such a large campus in many places where this individual could be, how and why you want people to really shelter in place because of it.
Well, the more they shelter in place and stay out of any kind of movement or activity, the more likely it makes it easier to identify who is out and not have as many potential sightings or targets to go investigate. So in addition to all of our heavy vehicles, which is why we're running so slow, which is the only reason I can actually talk to you right now, because we're driving relatively slow to keep all these gears together. We're also bringing canines and drones. The drones obviously will have thermal and other kinds of things, and the canines can do tracking, so that, you know, again, anything that we need to plug in to assist, we're going to help any way we can.
Sheriff, one more question I had for you. I know you got a lot of phone calls coming in. When you have an active shooter situation like this on a campus like Michigan State University, a place that holds 45,000 plus people, it's a mini city. I went there, Taryn went there. I mean, we know, you know. What are some of the things that they have to really do to try to catch this person who's responsible?
Well, you know, when people see or hear something, they should call it in. They shouldn't go investigate it, but they should call it in if they hear or see something that is unusual, or any kinds of sightings or movements, any kind of things that they think may be related to this, but not go out. They should be sheltering in place, locking themselves down. That's the best way to stay safe. That's the hide part of the run, hide, fight. Because if they go out, they don't know where the danger is, and you don't want to be going towards it. That's our job, to go towards the danger.
Run, hide, fight, something that through the Alice training, through the years of training that you've been doing at workplaces and schools, things changed in recent years, didn't they?
Well, the principles are pretty much the same. Run, hide, fight. Get away from it if you can, but in a situation like this where you don't know where the danger is and you don't know where you're running to, and it's nighttime, now's not the time to be running, across campus for a variety of reasons. So this is the time really that you're safest if you're in an apartment or a dorm and you've got your door locked and closed and barricaded. I think you're in a pretty good spot there.
The drones that you have, you mentioned the heavy artillery. We know what a command center looks like because we know that's kind of a nerve center for information and for dispatch, so to speak. But what about the drones? How will those work in a situation like this to help catch this person?
Well, we're bringing both large and small. So if we need to pop something up to check an area, if somebody said that, let's say one of the searching police teams, one of the REACT teams sees something or saw some movement, we can pop that up and look for heat signatures or thermal. We can do aerial coverage, and then we're bringing smaller ones if we need to search interior spaces potentially.
The people who are watching right now, the moms and dads out there, you're a dad yourself. Sheriff, what message do you have for the people all over Metro Detroit who are watching this as their kids are on that campus?
That everybody's going, every resource that's available is coming. MSU is a great organization. The state police, Ingham County sheriffs, they're all there already. East Lansing PD. A lot of other agencies like us are on the way. Our federal partners. So there's not going to be a lack of resources there or a lack of people willing to put themselves in harm's way to separate your kids from the danger. The best thing they can do right now is to stay out of harm's way, to stay sheltered and barricaded in place, allow us to do the searching, allow the police resources of MSU and everybody else there to pursue, any kind of lead and direction to bring this to closure while they stay sheltered, safe.
We know that you're doing the best you can with all of the caravan that's coming through, and so we say thank you for the work you're doing. Obviously, you're doing your job, but you're doing it well, and we wish you well as you head over there. Sheriff Michael Bouchard, thanks for that report on the phone here with us tonight.
Sure thing.
And of course, we know the Oakland County Sheriff, his office, really did take the lead when it came to Oxford Community Schools back, sadly, that day where the mass shooting happened there. We know that the schools Oxford has put out some information as well, a statement. They said that their team is diligently working to put supports in place for our students, graduates, staff, parents, and the community at this point. We'll send further communications, but in addition, they said the Oxford Resiliency Center has added staff and will be open from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. on February 14th, Tuesday. That's tomorrow. More information will be posted. That's coming from the superintendent of Oxford Community Schools. They said they're taken aback by the tragic news from Michigan State University. They know this is going to be a huge impact on the community, many who have lived through what happened, obviously, at Oxford's campus, and then watching what's unfolding at Michigan State University. So they're going to continue to be there for students if they need any sort of assistance mentally, emotionally, psychologically. They seem to be prepared for that. Right now you're looking at some additional video that we received from apartment on the campus of Michigan State University. This is overseeing Grand River it was, and there were some students, there was groups of people running, it appeared. Right now we're back to live pictures It does seem that there is not, although there is a large police presence on the campus right now, that there doesn't seem as much of an urgency. It seems as if there are people who have been, students have been taken to safety, or they're able to shelter in place at this point, and police are just monitoring the situation as they work to track down that suspect. And really, only thing we're being told is he's wearing a mask and that he is short and he is armed and he is dangerous. So police actively searching for that individual. We have some sound we want to have you listen to that came from a student earlier today about what they saw when this unfolded.
So my friends and I, we were doing a little bit thing for Valentine's Day, and so we went to the store, went to Kroger, went to Michael's. As we're going down, we're on off of Division Street. Grand River's, 2 blocks away. Across the street, the hall, Berkey Hall. As we're pulling out, we see 20 plus cop cars all over the place. It was just insane, a little curious. Start going down Grand River towards the Kroger, towards the Michaels, and from Lansing, 7, 8, 9 cop cars going all over the place. And obviously, as we got the MSU alerts, active shooter, whatever, run, hide, fight, we kind of turned on the news, everything, and heard more and more cop cars. We saw an armored vehicle on the road as well. It was just insane, and heard the helicopters and everything.
There you have Fox News' Jessica Dupnack talking to a student as we take a live look right now. We are moments away from a news conference. Our own Randy Wimbley is live right now in a few moments, where he'll be bringing us that news conference with law enforcement as they talk about what unfolded on the campus of Michigan State University. What we know right now is that multiple people were shot on the campus of Michigan State University beginning at 8:18 p.m. inside of Berkey Hall. About 40 minutes later at the IM East, the intramural building, about a 20-minute walk away. There was yet reports of another shooting taking place. Police believe there is only one shooter. There is no report that that shooter has been apprehended at this time. At this point, that suspect is still at large. All we know is that that person is short and wearing a mask. Wayne County Sheriff Raphael Washington telling Fox 2 just moments ago that we are in touch with Colonel Gasper of MSP. Michigan State Police, remember, they're like one of the lead investigators here. The umbrella group who's, kind of checking everything out and making sure that they can glean on the resources of other law enforcement agents, including the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and they say they are on standby. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office is likely heading to Lansing soon to assist. Chief James White with Detroit Police also on standby as well. The two agencies working together. And right now we have a student, Perry, who's on the phone right now. And he is, and if we have to break away from Perry to bring you the news, if we have to break away from the phone interview, then we will. But we want to get him on the line because he's inside of Berkey Hall right now. Let's see.
And right now we are hearing from Jessica Dupnack right now. She is, we're still expecting the 11 o'clock presser. We are waiting right now to be able to take it live. We know our crews are walking into the area right now where Michigan State Police is giving a live update on what's going on. We know that we're going to be able to bring it to you live as soon as that takes place. They're going to police there at MSU's campus going to give an update. We know that there several people has been injured. We're waiting to find out more details on the exact amount of injuries. Right now you can see that is where the press conference will take place. Media have gathered in order to get the information out to the public, and hopefully we'll find out more about a possible suspect and whether that person is in custody yet. But in the meantime, you have someone on the phone, Rube.
We do. That person is about to join us on the phone. They're inside of Berkey Hall right now, just trying to, figure out exactly where they're going, what they're doing. But they're currently their phone is down, but they'll be calling me, I think, shortly to give us an idea as to what's going on inside of that hall. But we can tell you that several students we've talked to, they've told us that, look, you know what, the ones that have been able to report back are saying that it was a little chaotic. They were taken out of certain buildings. For instance, inside of the IM East, they were removed from that building, told to come with law enforcement who are armed. And the press conference, I believe, is starting right now. Take a listen. I believe they're actually testing the microphone.
Provide you with the most accurate and updated information. We will not be taking questions at this time, but we will provide another update in an hour. So at midnight, same time, same spot, we will be giving you an additional update. Rozman is spelled R-O-Z-M-A-N.
So we are very saddened to report that there has been an incident on the campus of Michigan State University. There has been shots fired and a shooting in multiple locations near campus. Please understand that the information that we're sharing right now is preliminary. Our priority right now is the safety of our students and our campus. The information that we're sharing may change, but we are going to be as transparent as we can and share as much information as we can. But that information may change as it's preliminary. This incident started this evening around 8:18 p.m. at Berkey Hall on campus. We received multiple 911 calls of a shooting inside Berkey Hall. Numerous officers responded. We were quickly on scene within minutes, and there we did locate several victims of a shooting. The incident did move to a building in close proximity, the Michigan State University Union building, where there was another report of a shooting immediately following the first incident. Police and emergency responders acted quickly. We tended to the victims at both of those scenes, and there was an overwhelming law enforcement response to campus to help with this situation. I can confirm that there were at least 5 victims. All 5 victims were transported to the hospital. Some of those victims do have life-threatening injuries. The suspect in this incident, and we believe there to be one suspect, was last seen leaving the MSU Union on foot out of the north side of that building. We are just receiving surveillance footage of that suspect that we will be releasing shortly. Initial information is that the suspect is a black male, shorter in stature, wearing red shoes, a jean jacket, and a ball cap. And we will follow up with additional descriptors of that suspect. Community members on and off campus should remain sheltered in place. We immediately launched our emergency notification system and advised the entire MSU campus to shelter in place as this suspect is still outstanding. For people on campus, please do not come to campus. I can't say that enough. For parents, we understand. I can only imagine the emotion that's involved right now. It's going to help us, and it's going to help our response, and it's going to help us identify the shooter, the less people that are on campus at this point. Please do not come to campus. We are doing everything we can to ensure the safety of our campus and all of our students. We currently have hundreds of police officers and law enforcement officials, state, local, and federal, on campus working in a coordinated effort to ensure the safety of campus and identify and apprehend the suspect. All campus activities will be canceled for the next 48 hours, including sporting events, classes, and all campus-related activities. Please follow our Twitter page for updates. We are sharing live updates at that location. I can't stress this enough. You're probably hearing a lot of information and misinformation right now from social media, the scanner, calls that we're receiving that are not accurate. We strongly encourage you to follow the accurate information source, and we will continue to provide as many updates and accurate updates as we can. There has been false reports of additional shootings. There has been false reports of the suspect seen in numerous different locations. Those reports are not accurate. Please follow us for accurate information. As I said, we're very early on in this investigation. It remains ongoing, and we are going to continue to meet back here and provide updates on the hour. We wanted to provide as much accurate information as possible right now, and we will continue to do that moving forward. As I said, information is very preliminary at this point, and we are working very hard to gather that information, to accurately get it out to our community, to students, to parents, and to everybody who needs that information. Please know that the safety and security of this campus and our students is our absolute priority at this point. We will meet back here at midnight for an additional update. We will push out some information, including a photograph of the suspect that we just obtained immediately following this briefing. Thank you, and we'll see you back here in an hour.
You all are welcome to be here.
Guys, Michigan State Police with the news conference just wrapping up, saying that a photo is coming soon of this suspect. We know that 5 people have been shot on the campus of Michigan State.
And we want to, now we have some official word about what actually happens. We want to walk you through the specifics coming from police. Of course, they did say this is preliminary information, but we do know, as we reported at Berkey Hall at 8:18, there was multiple 911 calls that came in because there was a shooting inside Berkey Hall. There were multiple victims. Police say the suspect then moved to the Union and opened fire inside the Union Hall. Others shot as well. There's a total of 5 victims with life-threatening injuries. They were taken to the hospital. He said there was, quote, an overwhelming police presence that responded to both scenes, the 5 victims, and transporting them to the hospital. That suspect was last seen at the MSU Union, left on the north side on foot, and they have been working to track down this individual ever since. They do have surveillance video, as Roop mentioned. They are working to get that out, but this is the brief description that we know at this point. This was an individual, short in stature. They said a black man with red shoes, a red jacket, or jean jacket rather, and a ball cap, and that he is armed and he's dangerous. They are working to track him down as we speak. They also went on to say that please don't pay attention to there have been many reports, Roop, of multiple areas where these shootings have taken place. At this point, we know that it's just the Union, he had mentioned, and Berkey Hall.
That's right, and we should stress that right now the students that are on campus are being held in safe places right now. On the phone with us right now is a young man named Perry. He's inside of Berkey Hall. Perry, we just got a briefing from the police, and we'll repeat it for those who are watching and also for you on the phone, that they believe that 5 people were shot on the campus of Michigan State University, some in critical condition at Berkey Hall and also Union as well. They have a suspect picture that they're going to be releasing very soon of a young man who's short in stature, red shoes, jeans, and a ball cap, appears to be a black male. This is what we know so far. You're inside of Berkey Hall, Perry. What is it that you're being told? And tell us what happened tonight as this unfolded in your experience.
Well, right now we're on lockdown here. We're being told to stay in our dorms. We have the doors locked. We're told that door access is not available right now, so people cannot get into the dorms unless they're police escorted. And we're told that one of the suspects wearing a white hoodie has been walking around and is just passed near Armstrong Hall. So the suspects are still at large, and we don't really know where they are right now. So we're just hanging low here and staying in our dorms.
Well, just so you know, and if you can spread the word over there at Berkey Hall, because when young people look, as you know, Perry, and I don't want to be the old guy in the room saying this, but look just at social media and those police scanners, you hear a lot of reports that aren't true. But what we do know is true right now is that there is one suspect. That one suspect was last seen leaving Union Hall, and that happened after another shooting at Union Hall, wearing red shoes, jeans, a ball cap, short in stature. And that is something that we want to make sure that you can tell your friends at Berkey Hall that some of the scanner traffic, some of these tweets, they're all over the place, and we got to make sure that we're giving good information out there. This just came from Michigan State Police. 5 people shot, some in critical condition. What happened initially when you, where were you at 8:18 p.m. and what did you hear and how did you know what was going on?
At 8:18 p.m., I was in my car initially, and I got a report via Outlook email that there was a suspected shooter. So then I went up to my dormitory to take shelter.
And when you got there, were you told, I know you were getting text messages, what were some of those text messages? What did they tell you, and what did some of the students tell you? Were they worried initially, or was there a general sense of calm that it wasn't happening right in your dorm?
Well, in the beginning, we actually thought it might have been a false alarm, but later on, we got 2 more reports that there were shots fired. And then we were quite confident that it was real. Of course, it was happening on the other end of campus, so we thought that we were probably safe. But we got a lot of reports. Most of them were probably false reports that they were nearby. And from then on, we were very much on edge.
I'll tell you, Perry, I know that as soon as something like this happens, however large that campus seems at first, becomes a pretty tight, small community. So clearly this is something that affected people so much so. Even if the building where this happened was across the other way of campus, when you know someone's out there on the loose, it can really be scary, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
Well,
we were all very scared. The general sentiment here is one that's of fright, I would say, generally.
Well,
we're all pretty scared here.
Just know that we're all thinking of you, and please know that we're all praying for safety, and we hope that at some point in this night, that person will be caught. And when that person is caught, you can try your best to resume this day, this night, in a way that at least allows you to have some solace in knowing that the campus is safe. We thank you for joining us today, Perry.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
All right, and we understand it, and as we have reported, victims have been taken to the Sparrow Hospital, which is located in Lansing. We know that there are 5 that have been wounded with life-threatening injuries, according to police. That's where we're going to join now Randy Wimbley. He's standing by at Sparrow Hospital with the very latest. Randy, what else can you tell us at this point?
Hey guys, the media relations director here at Sparrow Hospital just told us that they do in fact have 5 people who were transported here after the shootings at MSU. He would not elaborate on their conditions or how they're doing at the moment, but as we heard from MSU PD just a few moments ago, they had life-threatening injuries, but the hospital is not commenting on the status and the conditions of those victims right now, or if they are expecting more victims to be brought in after this shooting. 5 people were hurt. The suspect still very much at large. The media relations director here at Sparrow said that he would come back out and give us some more information, but no word, nothing of a more formal briefing, if you will. But again, 5 victims were taken here to Sparrow Hospital, according to MSU PD, life-threatening injuries. The suspect, as you mentioned, as you guys know, still at large.
All right, Randy Wimbley for us live. Randy, when you take a look at the scene right now behind you, you have a lot of media from all over the place converging. 5 people shot. We understand. I know the Sparrow folks aren't telling you the conditions, but law enforcement say some critical. It just breaks your heart because these are young people who are caring about their day today, caring about their evening.
And that's exactly right. No one thought that when they woke up this morning, something like this would occur. And so everyone here just still sort of wrapping their heads around the horrific tragedy that unfolded earlier this evening and sort of coming to terms with it, as we are as well. 5 people injured. Their condition or their injuries severe, according to MSU PD.
Randy Wimbley for us live. We'll be checking in with you again just in a few moments here. But by the way, the next update is coming up at midnight in less than an hour here. So stay tuned for that here on Fox 2.
And right now, though, we're going to talk to Jessica Dupnack. She was live inside that press conference, and she's joining us now with the details. Jessica.
Yeah, hi. We are at what is being called a safe space here on campus where all the media is gathering. Just wrapped up there talking to the MSU Deputy Chief Chris Rosman. He got up to the microphone and immediately broke down in tears, trying to hold it together, calling this a sad day here in East Lansing. So a little recap I know we've been giving you, but if you're just kind of tuning in here, 8:18 is when the first shots were fired over at Berkey Hall on campus. Police immediately responded there. Then there were reports shortly after nearby the MSU Union. Right now, police are confirming 5 injured. As you heard from my colleague there, Randy, they have been taken to Sparrow Hospital. Let's take a listen into the deputy chief and what he had to say about those victims.
I can confirm that there were at least 5 victims. All 5 victims were transported to the hospital. Some of those victims do have life-threatening injuries. The suspect in this incident, and we believe there to be one suspect, was last seen leaving the MSU Union on foot out of the north side of that building. We are just receiving surveillance footage of that suspect that we will be releasing shortly. Initial information is that the suspect is a black male, shorter in stature, wearing red shoes, a jean jacket, and a ball cap. And we will follow up with additional descriptors of that suspect.
Right now, there's literally hundreds of law enforcement officers sprawled across campus, and they are looking for that shooter who is still on the loose right now. Students, as we've been hearing throughout the night, still being asked to shelter in place. I talked to a student earlier who is at Hubbard Hall. He had the dresser in front of his doorway, and all the lights were off, and really just trying to distract himself, keeping in touch with family and friends. Speaking of that, parents are being asked not to come to campus, although on the way here, a lot of heavy traffic on 96, meaning a lot of parents are heading to MSU. But police are asking that parents refrain from coming to campus. They have a job to do, and of utmost importance right now is making sure they get that suspect in custody. Again, a vague description is a shorter black male with red shoes, a jean jacket, and a ball cap. Last seen leaving the second scene at the MSU Union, heading north on foot. But again, students sheltering in place. We are expected to get another briefing from the chief here, deputy chief, in a little while at midnight, and in between now and then hopefully getting a picture of the suspect. We're told there is video of that suspect. They'll be grabbing a still image, and we will of course put it out to you as soon as we can, because at this point, regardless of how many officers are out here, it's definitely going to take community tips and that kind of thing to really put this man in custody and give folks some sense of peace. Send it back to you guys for now.
Jessica, when you hear the description, and by the way, we're about to get that picture on TV in just a few moments here, but you hear about the picture, jean jacket, you hear, red shoes, a ball cap. At some point here, someone's going to see this guy. Someone saw this guy already, and it's just a matter of time. You've covered the police beat for years. It's going to take people who have to call the tip line right away, right? Jessica, I think we lost Jessica there, but it's going to take that effort to get people who are on campus who may have seen this person, or anybody who understands that this person may be somewhere. They should call police immediately.
And right now we're getting a look ourselves. We're going to put it out to you as soon as possible, just in moments, really, of this suspect. They were able to get video of this individual. It looks like he's walking in a hallway of one of the buildings on the campus, wearing a cap, a navy cap, a tan rim on that cap, a jean jacket, dark colored pants, and red shoes. Now, when they talked about a mask, it appears that it was just covering his mouth, and then you can see the upper side of his face, the individual's face. That is on there as well.
You can see something in the picture that we'll show you in just a few moments here. We're literally just about a minute away or so, I hope, to get this picture on TV. But when you see the picture, you'll see he's holding something that appears to be a weapon. But of course, that's up to law enforcement to determine. It's a bit blurry, but as you say, the jean jacket, the red shoes, the ball cap, pretty clear when you look at the picture. Once it starts going viral and being shared on campus, if someone saw something, someone saw this guy running somewhere, listen, it may not be right there on campus anymore, but perhaps somewhere in the Lansing, East Lansing area, that's where it's going to really be useful to have this picture out there for those folks who are on social media. Go to the MSU Police Twitter site, find that picture and retweet it.
Okay, and thanks for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. Our team at Fox 2 in Detroit is doing a really good job of recapping everything that we know so far. I'm Lexi Petrovich. Thanks for being with us here as we cover this breaking news out of East Lansing, Michigan State University. You just heard our team at Fox 2 talking about that suspect picture. We now have it. I want to pull it up here as we heard from police just moments ago talking about what we know regarding this shooting so far. You can see in this photo here what the suspect looks like as he is still on the loose right now. So police describe him as a black male, shorter in stature, red shoes, jean jacket. He was wearing a baseball cap that's navy with a lighter brim. So that is the image there. A little bit of a better look at his shoes as well as we remove the banner there for you to get a good look at the suspect. And we heard them recapping a little bit about what we know so far as well, but also just want to go through it again in case you are just joining us as we're following this breaking news out of East Lansing. We know that 5 people have been transported to a hospital following this shooting, the shooting that happened at multiple locations throughout Michigan State University's campus. Police saying that some of the victims are in life-threatening condition. Police acted quickly. They said they got to the scene within minutes. They tended to victims at both of the scenes that they were called to, and that there's one suspect. They say there's a lot of misinformation going on right now, a lot of rumors circulating on social media, but they want people to just follow what they're saying, any information that they're confirming, and that is that they are looking for one suspect. Again, that image here as we pull it up again of what the suspect is wearing, as that suspect is still on the loose. So we are expecting another update here in about a half hour or so, hoping to be able to bring you more information then as soon as we hear from police. Now, again, our team at Fox 2 Detroit has reporters on the ground throughout Michigan State University's campus in different areas covering this extensively for us as we're waiting to see any new developments as they hopefully are able to find the suspect and bring him into custody. One of our reporters and colleagues at Fox 2 Detroit did talk with some students and people who were there in East Lansing at the time that all of this was happening. I want to play out what they had to say now here for you on Live Now from Fox.
20 plus cop cars all over the place. It was just insane, you know, a little curious. Start going down Grand River towards the Kroger, towards the Michaels, and from Lansing, 7, 8, 9 cop cars going all over the place. And obviously, as we got the MSU alerts, you know, active shooter, whatever, run, hide, fight, we kind of turned on the news, everything, and heard more and more cop cars. We saw an armored vehicle on the road as well. It was just insane, and heard the helicopters and everything.
What's going through your mind, man, when you're seeing all of this?
I mean, it's scary, yeah. Like, it's totally unannounced, you know. It's the day before Valentine's Day. You have no clue. We're just trying to do something. Everyone's probably, you know, going out to eat late night or whatever else, and we see people running across the street as we're going there. It's just, you know, chaotic. It's very scary. I mean, I still got chills down my spine right now.
Do you know of anybody, any of your friends that are hurt at all?
No, luckily I reached out to all my friends from Dearborn and everything, reaching out to me, making sure I'm safe. I'm making sure all our other friends are safe. At MSU, my little brother, he's in the dorms in Hubbard, which is, you know, where some activities going on, but we make sure he's safe and, you know, everyone's safe that I know.
What did he say to you? What's it like in Hubbard right now?
I mean, he was taking some videos. It's complete lockdown. He hears screams, people running across the street as he's looking down. He's on the 9th floor, luckily, so you know, he's got a little bit of buffer, a little bit of area to make sure no one can get up to him. But yeah, screams. I mean, he's scared as well. We told him to put his dresser in front of his door and make sure no one can come out. And it's just that area right there. I mean, that's where the suspects are. It's chaotic.
You guys have seen active shooter. This is the world that you all grew up in, but now it's real.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something, you know, you always hear it in the news, and like, it was just a normal day, like we said, normal night. We're going out, and you know, it's a real thing. It's scary. I mean, we're lucky we were, you know, on the road driving away, making sure everyone's safe. But it's a scary world, you know. Some messed up people as well.
Thank you so much. You did amazing. Thank you. Did you guys want to look right at me? Say and spell your first and last name for me.
I'm Olivia Murray. Spell first and last name. OLIVIAMURRAY.
And what year are you?
I'm a junior.
Tell me how you're feeling right now.
I mean, terrified. I was saying to my friends in the car, like, I haven't been able to, like, stop, like, getting this, like, shivering feeling, like, out of me since I heard what first was happening. And it's so terrifying because today we had chapter, and you know, a lot of girls are walking home to their dorms, and we have so many girls, and it's so scary hearing all of them saying they're like underneath their bed and they're barricading their doors and like crying. They hear screaming, and it's just like a really terrible feeling.
When you left campus, was it just total chaos?
Yeah, there were police cars everywhere, and I mean, luckily we were going in the opposite direction, but we didn't know what it was at the time when we were driving away. But I mean, there was so much commotion. It was definitely scary.
Have you checked in with folks, anybody that's hurt that you know of?
No one that I know of that's hurt, thank goodness, but I've been checking on everybody I know. Everyone's been checking on me from home and stuff, which is really nice, but no one hurt that I know of.
How good does it feel to be away from that right now and just safe?
Very, very grateful to even be like living off campus. Very, very grateful, and to be surrounded by my friends.
Thank you so much, honey. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just talked to Marshall a few minutes ago.
I got the boys. We're at the courtyard in Okemos. We're safe. I'm keeping them here.
Tom, just saying your first and last, so we got it.
Tom, T-O-M, last name T as in Tom, A, F as in Frank, E as in Edward, L Larry, S-K-I.
Tell me who you got at campus.
So I have a couple, my two sons, two of my three sons are at Michigan State. I have a senior and then a freshman, and then I have a junior that's at Central Michigan, and we got together for dinner. I was kind of dropping off, tightening up some last minute things, and as I went to get on 96, 1, 2, 3, 4, I thought, okay, maybe it's just a terrible accident, and then 5, 6, and then a stream of, red lights heading westbound to get off at the Okemos exit. So
as a dad, you're sitting there thinking this ain't normal.
Yeah, and just kind of knowing the way society is nowadays, unfortunately, you're like, it's not a bad accident, it's something else. And my heart goes out to, I was fortunate enough to be right here, and I flipped around and said, hey, I'm just going to grab the ones that I can't. My one son can't get back to his place because it's kind of right there off of Grand River, so we're going to put him up in the hotel tonight, and then my other one is still in one of the dorms. I'd like to be able to get him, but he's safe and he's okay. The lights are off inside his hall, his doors barricaded, but my heart goes out to obviously the families and the parents that can't be with their kids up here at Michigan State.
Tom, those conversations with your boy that's in Hubbard right now, what are you telling him? What do you say in this situation?
Well, no parent wants to do it, obviously, but it's, be safe, keep your head down, shut the lights off, just stay calm, diversion, listen to your iPad or iPod, put your headphones on, do something, try not to think about it. But obviously he's sending photos and pictures of kids running across campus, and the one thing there is a ton of rumors, and until we actually have the facts, that's what creates kind of the panic and the emotions, and that's the terrible part of things like this. Unfortunately, there were some pictures circulating around. Hopefully they're not true, but I fear they are. So
the fact that he hasn't been brought into custody at this point, he or whoever the shooters are, I mean, that's alarming. That has to be alarming for you. You're sitting here safe, but you're just thinking, I'm sure, what's going on a few miles away.
Yeah, and I praise the law enforcement so many times. They're on the other end of what's happening in society, but these are the times you need those men and women that'll come out and actually go after somebody like this to keep our children safe and your children safe. So I just hope that the law enforcement, I know I heard the U.S. Marshals were coming in. I know there's helicopters we can see coming around. I mean, a lot of reports. I just hope that everything happens tonight and, life gets back to what kind of normal there can be over the next couple days up here in Lansing. in East Lansing.
We hear it all the time, the school now part of an awful club that you do not want to be a part of.
Yeah, and again, my heart goes out to, the Michigan State community, those parents that have kids up there. Hopefully everybody is talking to kids. I know they're, from just listening to people, were some holding areas where they were bringing survivors and they were bringing witnesses. So, but it seemed like a very calculated event tonight, which is so unfortunate.
You guys staying put in Okemos at the hotel here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll stay here and get a few rooms at a couple I have a lot of friends that are calling me that their kids are going. There's a group of kids from high school that went up here, and I just said I'm around, but I don't think I'll be able to get to them because they're locked in their dorm rooms, obviously. But just the minute I can, if they need me to, we'll got a big car, we'll bring them back, and they'll need a lot of hugs.
It's just terrifying to hear from all of these people who have loved ones on campus, students there, all of these horrifying moments that they have been dealing with as police continue to search for this suspect. I think one of the most devastating things that I've seen on Twitter so far has been a student who was standing in an area where they were holding students off wearing an Oxford Strong sweatshirt, and it's just terrifying to know that some of these students who went through a mass shooting not that long ago in Michigan, in Oxford, Michigan, are now students at Michigan State University going through this all over again. It's just incredibly scary. And we've been talking between our Fox 2 team and our team here at Live Now from Fox. We've been talking to students on Michigan State University's campus as well. I've been in contact with one who has been hiding in a classroom with other students and a professor, talking with her, saying that two of her classmates that she was with were in the Union, not far from where that initial report of shots fired came in at Berkey Hall, saying that everyone is just in shock, terrified. I mean, it's exactly what you would expect if you were, God forbid, in that type of situation. So we are constantly in contact with students as they are still hiding out, still waiting for an update from police, as police have been reminding people to remain sheltered in place. Let's listen to another MSU alum who spoke with Fox 2 Detroit on what they had to say.
Right now is just fear. My roommates and I have secured our whole apartment right now. But today's the anniversary of the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. So it's kind of just bringing me back to where I was from there. I was just talking with my manager recently that it feels like it's getting closer and closer in. And it's too close. It's too close right now. I'm fearing right now. I don't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. I have a friend who was going from his resident hall to go study with some friends on the other side of campus. I'm texting him right now. He's sheltering in place in one of the cafeterias.
And he just touched on it there, too. A reminder that tomorrow marks the 5-year anniversary since the mass shooting at Parkland, in Parkland, Florida, where 17 people were killed, 17 others injured at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. So these occurrences are becoming, unfortunately, all too common as we're continuing to follow this yet again, another breaking news mass shooting story, this time out of East Lansing, Michigan, on Michigan State University's campus. Pull up this picture again of the suspect that police are still searching for. They described him as a black male, shorter, wearing a jean jacket, as you can see here, with red shoes. He's wearing a ball cap, and he is armed and dangerous. That's why they are telling everyone to remain sheltering in place. At least 5 victims taken to the hospital. Police responding to the scene within minutes, providing that first update that we just got at 11 o'clock Eastern time, expecting that next update in less than 30 minutes at midnight Eastern time. So we'll bring that to you as soon as that feed comes in here. We're also getting some live looks here. This is a live look outside of the hospital. We have our cameras rolling there. We also have a live look here at a police presence at another part on campus here. And just continuing to follow any news that's coming out of this. You could even hear from the police officer that we heard from at 11 o'clock during that first press briefing. You could see him getting noticeably emotional and choked up as he talked about this terrifying situation that's now happening in his area, in his home area on campus where so many families have loved ones who are near that area, a massive university at Michigan State, which also makes this search for the suspect that much more difficult. Also reminding the public to not believe all of these rumors that are circulating on social media, that they will provide that next update at midnight Eastern time, and that there's a lot of misinformation out there. So again, they are still just searching for that one suspect, and that is the photo of him there. So we're going to check back in with our Fox 2 team now, who is live during their newscast. Again, they're doing a really great job of covering everything in this breaking news situation with reporters on the ground in different areas as we continue to bring you all of the updates here. And here we go. We have another update that we are just getting right now from MSU police. There have been 3 confirmed fatalities. This is in addition to the 5 victims who have been transported to the hospital. So MSU police, public safety, sharing that information there. I'm sure we're going to hear more about this in any new details and new information in the next 20 minutes or so when they provide us that next update. So let's listen back in here to our Fox 2 team as they are live on the air right now.
Hospital, just getting word of these 3 fatalities and 5 others hurt on the campus of Michigan State University. There are no words to even put into perspective how hard that is to hear, and of course for the parents out there who are watching this right now.
Well, hopefully the picture of that suspect is circulating on social media, and this person is going to be caught soon. But like we've said, this is a very large campus, so it's going to be challenging for law enforcement.
Yeah, and police, as you were speaking with Sheriff Bouchard, I was speaking with Lieutenant Shaw. Pretty soon the police are going to outnumber the number of students there with just the sheer force that they're doing. And they're working in conjunction. They train for these scenarios, right?
Sure.
So you have multiple agencies that have to figure out who's the lead agency, figure out where we're going to stage and treat the injured, where are we going to make sure that these areas are clear, who's going to filter through all the social media reports, because as we were reporting earlier, there were many different scenes. Well, it turns out there really weren't. There was just a few. There's a coordinated effort that has to take place, and at the same time, they have to eliminate this threat, and that's priority 1.
And he was last seen, this individual, this is the suspect right there. The police just released that image. He was last seen leaving the Union Hall where the second shooting took place, north on foot. So we know that police have brought in canines to be able to track this person. Hopefully that will, certainly aid in their search, but that's where he was last seen as he was fleeing the scene.
This picture is probably, this is someone who, if this person is indeed responsible for this, is someone who we wish we never had to see again. But this is a picture that's critically important at this hour in the investigation to share as much as possible. If you have a phone and you have Twitter, if you have TikTok, if you have Facebook, if you have Instagram, find a way to share this picture because you don't know who's going to see it. Right now, Nerve Central is East Lansing and Lansing. This person was last seen running away from the Union, the Student Union building. This person is somewhere in that area. They couldn't have gone that far. So the question is, where is this individual now, and how can all of us as a community help work to find this person and bring him to justice? Because that's right now what police want to do.
Yes, unfortunately, 5 hurt in this shooting, some life-threatening injuries. 3 others have been killed in this mass shooting on the campus of Michigan State University. Multiple police agencies on scene monitoring as they continue to look for the person responsible.
Dave, Spencer, all of us, of course, remember so well, sadly, the Oxford shooting. You just finished talking to a mom whose child had to witness now this and that as well. You think a little bit about preparation and what law enforcement does to make sure that people can be safe. Ultimately, it seems almost impossible in some way to stop someone who wants to do that kind of harm on a campus this big.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's a giant campus. We've all been there, we've all experienced it, and you remember what it's like navigating it at night. He has the advantage of knowing where he's going and knowing the campus fairly well, we can assume. it's really hard then for the coordinated effort, which they are working to right now, to kind of box him in and figure out where this person is and make sure he doesn't leave and cause any more chaos. And obviously that's priority one.
We should mention that the interesting part about what the Oakland County Sheriff's Department and other agencies are deploying as they arrive there, and I'm sure they probably have by now, are thermal reading drones. Look, that basically means these things can see in the dark.
Yeah.
Drones that can be put up in the air and they can detect, as you can imagine, the infrared green imagery of the heat of a body being seen from these images. That's what they're hoping to do around this area. How they're going to use that, how they're going to get together and say, hey, who goes where? Let's figure this out.
Right.
We do know that every resource possible, as the sheriff said earlier, the world is heading to East Lansing.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, maybe we can bring up that image again. Still a lot of questions about this, and hopefully we'll find out in the coming days of this investigation. But when you see somebody like this who's wearing a mask, who's come prepared, why Berkey Hall? Why the Union Hall? What was behind this? What would make someone take such a hateful, destructive act to the campus of Michigan State University? What was in the mind of this individual? It's quite scary to think about it, but we need to get this person in custody. You can see the hat, the jean jacket with a Sherpa shearling collar, red shoes, jeans, a mask that covers up around his nose, and it appears some sort of vest or backpack, and I'm not really sure. I can't tell very well.
I think you make a good point about, you know, looking at motive and trying to figure out who may have been involved with something some kind of an altercation that could have happened. But beyond that, it is so hard, even with this picture though, outside of, you know, the jacket and the jeans and the red shoes, but the face itself is covered. And so you talk about the mask, you're looking at only half of a face, and even the other half kind of covered a little bit with the hat. You can't even tell the age of the person really. You can't even tell much about the suspect. But again, you know, when you look at a campus, it's interesting when you look at how law enforcement sees this. They say, wait, someone saw something somewhere. And they are looking at surveillance cameras, no doubtedly right now, around the campus to see where this person could have ran off.
And all the more important then to heed what the police are telling people, to shelter in place and not go out there and you know, get in the way and as they're trying to hunt this person down. If you listen to them, if you stay where you are sheltering in place, they're more likely then to be able to track him down and take him into custody.
Absolutely, because they're gathering tips right now, information about the suspect, and that's coming in, and then they'll be able to concentrate on a specific area. And if there's an individual, a student, let's say, that's in the way of that, that is going to create a problem for law enforcement. So they're able to narrow their search field down and be able to hone in on the suspect if they have enough information from the public, and if there's, it's a clear area, and they're able to use, as Root mentioned, what the sheriff talked about, the drones, infrared cameras, you know, we have the K9s, they have the trucks, armored vehicles, they have the weapons, they have what's necessary. They just need to be able to have the proper information and the people out of the way to find them.
We do have a student who's joining us again, a young man who's been joining us throughout this evening to talk a little bit about what he's seeing now. He's in an apartment complex not far from the IM building, that intramural building east. And Jordan, thank you for taking our call. I know you were sheltering in place inside your apartment. You've obviously learned about the fact that 5 people were hurt, 3 students, apparently students we believe, are dead on the campus of Michigan State University after the shooting. I just have to ask you, as you learn about this and, you know, you're talking to other people on campus, give us an update as to, you know, what you're doing right now and where you are.
Yeah, right now I'm still sheltering in place in my apartment, along with my roommate. Everything is locked down. We're just kind of watching the news. We're also following along with the MSU Police Department alerts that we get via text message. Obviously, you know, my heart goes out to the families of the 3 fatalities. And like I was telling you earlier, we're a Spartan community. We stick together. We are one big family here. So when this hurts 3 people, 3 families, it hurts all of us. So definitely thinking about those people as well as the victims in the hospital at this time.
I'm with David Spencer and Taryn Asher, 2 other anchor reporters who are with us right now, and they also have their microphones open, so we'll allow them to ask some questions as well.
We've been talking just about the police presence here, and I was just curious to see from your vantage point as you kind of survey the scene from where you are, if you're noticing any sort of movement at all, or if, is it pretty much everybody's gotten their position and are staying there?
Yeah, so obviously I won't disclose the location of where I am right now for safety, but from what I can see, at least from my area, I do not see any cop cars just based on my location. We have been hearing helicopters overhead, an occasional police car. I will say the main road by where I am is blocked off. But my apartment complex, I would say, is a pretty big area, and normally it's, there's cars always driving people out. It has, ever since we got that text, it has been very silent. Everyone has their lights off, blinds shut. We have not heard movement from anyone in the apartment complex. So it's definitely a very interesting and yet eerie sight to see.
Yeah, so it does sound like people are adhering to the shelter-in-place order then.
Yeah, everyone is not moving right now. I have friends that are on campus right now, and they're still waiting to be cleared out as well. Obviously, I don't want to bombard them with text messages of getting periodic updates, but yeah, everyone's kind of just staying put until we hear something from university officials.
And we're curious about that as well. How have you been informed by the university about what is going on?
So there's a couple different ways that students are being informed. The first is through the text message system. So the Michigan State University Police Department has a text message system, set up for anyone that wants to sign up for it. So that's the most immediate thing that we've been seeing. Additionally, on Twitter, MSU PD and Public Safety has been tweeting out information as well. So we've been following that as well. It seems like a lot of students are pretty cognizant, pretty aware of the misinformation that's out there. So a lot of students are primarily focused on the text message system as well as tweets from MSU PD.
Well, because I think that's so critically important. Wouldn't you say, Jordan, right now the search is on for a suspect we're showing on TV right now wearing a jean jacket, dark pants, red shoes, a baseball cap, short in stature. This is important to show this picture, not to share random pictures that will kind of throw people off and look for the wrong things, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as soon as the press conference was over, every single person that I know that has some relation to the MSU community was sharing out this picture. So it's definitely getting around on social media right now. A lot of people are looking at it right now. People are posting it on as many social media platforms as they can. So hopefully this guy is caught soon.
I know that this is going to take a while to sink in. It's still shocking for everybody involved, but you learned about the fact that it's not just 5 people hurt, but 5 people hurt and 3 people dead. It is almost impossible to frame that in your head, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's. I was just talking about it with my roommate earlier. It's very hard to conceptualize. I mean, hours ago we were walking around on campus. It was a beautiful day out. Everybody was out walking, hammocking. I mean, doing everyday college things. And the next thing you know, we see this. We see this going on, and we're getting these alerts. So it's very hard for us to process right now. I'm still having a very tough time processing. But thankfully, I have a really good support system around me. My parents are checking in on me constantly right now. So it's hard to process. It's going to take a while to process. But
sure,
we're a Spartan community. So
well, and with that being said, in your opinion, just watching how this has unfolded the last few hours, how do you feel that the university has handled this and police and do you feel like do you feel safe? Do you feel informed? Do you feel like that you're in good hands?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm safe right now. I feel like I'm in very good hands. I think the university is doing a great job of communicating with everyone. And I'm not sure if you've been aware as well, but the university has a physical emergency alert system that's located throughout campus. It's called the Emergency Green Light System. These are bright green poles that are located all throughout campus as well as in every single resident hall. And so when the alert went out, to my understanding, from what I've heard, that the physical alarm went off throughout campus as well, alerting people to shelter in place and to look at their phones as well.
Jordan, we can't really say enough to really express our real heartfelt sympathy to you and everybody else that's with you tonight. But I just want to let you know that all of us here at Fox 2 are thinking about you and all of your friends and all your family as well. This is a hard day, and I wish you well as we move forward. Be in touch.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hoping for brighter days ahead.
I certainly
we all do.
Hope for that with you. Thank you, Jordan, for your time today. Jordan Robinson, one of the graduates of Michigan State University, lived on campus for a number of years, now lives right off campus, still has friends who are sheltering tonight. after hearing about the news that broke at 8:18 p.m. We should tell you in about 9 minutes, there's going to be a news conference in which we're going to hear yet another update. This one's going to be much tougher for the police representative who before was teared up talking about 5 people injured. Now we'll have to report that 3 students had died in addition to 5 who were hurt.
And the deputy chief did tell us during that press conference that there was preliminary information, that it would continue to change. They were going to be as transparent as possible with anything that they received and were able to confirm. Of course, we're all hoping to hear that the suspect has been captured. We will definitely know more, like Bruce said, in about 7 minutes or so. But in the meantime, there's parents like the ones you spoke with.
Jennifer, right?
And it's truly, we say nightmare, but this is what we're describing.
And the nightmare is ongoing. We're so used to these mass shootings happening in a confined school. I mean, for better or worse, they happen and then they end rather quickly. This one is continuing on for now hour 3 with still no end in sight because this person is still out there. You know, we continue to show the picture, which is important, right? And we need, you know, police need to do their job and everybody needs to listen to them. Don't go out and try to be part of the story. Don't try to get your own information and end up getting in the way because they need to stop this person. That needs to happen first.
That's so important. I think you're so right, your perspective about buildings. When there's an active shooter in a building in one structure, then there's, you know where the exits are to that building, and you know that that person could have gone one of how many ways.
On a campus, though.
On a campus, though, it literally, and look, I don't want to minimize the fact that these law enforcement agents are there in full force. So when I say full throttle, I mean, you're talking every law enforcement agent from Wayne County Sheriff's Department, Detroit Police on standby, Oakland County Sheriffs, everything that is on the west side of the state, they're ready. One of the students who's on campus right now has
we have him on the line, Eric Sabe. We want to speak with him about what he's seen. Eric, we understand you're on the line. Don't tell us specifically where you are located at this point, but what is your vantage point and what have you experienced as this day really started to unfold?
I've been more in the east neighborhood, so more on the east side of campus, from where everything occurred. And from here, it's been like a lot of police presence, especially here. We had all kinds of police rushing towards our dorm, people being evacuated, people that we saw from our window with their hands over their head, running out of the dorm and just trying to stay safe. We've had police coming through our hallways, knocking on our doors. And it's just been a crazy day. We've been almost under shelter now for about 3 hours, maybe even 4 hours.
When the police knocked on your door, what were they instructing you to do?
Nothing, really. They were just knocking on our door, I guess just checking to make sure if it was closed or not because of the shelter-in-place order.
How long has that been ongoing now? When did they come by?
The police came by maybe around 30 minutes ago, but I've been seeing them through the peephole through my door maybe for the last hour, 2 hours, ever since this all happened pretty much.
Right now, though, as you listen to perhaps what is going on around you, does it seem almost eerily quiet, or is there still a lot of activity that seems to be going on campus right now?
It's more quiet right now from where I'm at, but maybe about an hour and a half ago, we had all kinds of police, maybe 20 cars in front of our dorm building. Like I said, people rushing outside, people just trying to get out because of what we heard on the radio. We've all, everybody, including my roommates, we've just been listening to the radio, just trying to keep updated, trying to know what's going on, trying to figure out what's happening. It's all been so confusing. We keep hearing mixed reports all the time. We have no idea where they are and what to think.
How do you feel now? Do you feel safe?
I feel more safe now. I mean, I've heard reports that they secured the building, but I haven't seen many police in front of our building since, and I don't really know what's happening as of now. Even with what I hear on the news, even with what I hear on the radio, we're still all just very confused and trying to figure out what's going on.
I can tell you that right now, the one thing we do know, there's 2 things that we know right now, and that's that we know that 8 people were shot today. We know 5 of them were hurt, some of them seriously, 3 were killed. We also know that this picture we keep showing on the news is a guy who they really need to get a hold of. We understand he was leaving the student union. To give people an idea of how crowded the student union is on any given night, would you say on a weeknight like tonight? I know when I used to go to school there, it used to be pretty crowded, but I mean, is that usually the case?
Yeah, it usually is pretty crowded at the union. There could be anywhere from like hundreds of kids there to a few. On a night like tonight, maybe, yeah, it could be in the hundreds at the Union. It could be crazy because it's a school night. You know, it's not a weekend. There's kids here, kids that just came back.
Wow.
I'm not entirely sure.
Sure. What is the latest that you have heard from police or the university at this point? Just a shelter in place?
Just a shelter in place is issued to pretty much every kid on campus right now. We're not allowed to leave. We've been told that there's 48 hours of no classes, no activities, nothing. We're just all trying to make sense of it all and trying to figure out what happened or what's going on right now.
All right. Well,
how important, I just want to ask one thing. I mean, it is so important. We heard from another student who said, look, we got to make sure we're sharing the right stuff here. You know, those social media, there's a lot of stuff that's out there. There's false images of people that aren't even involved with the shooting. That's important to keep in mind, that people share the right information, because every moment counts when you're trying to catch someone, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, we have like all kinds of storyboards online, whether it be through like Snapchat or through Instagram, of all kinds of like conflicting news that we're hearing. Compared to like what we hear on the radio or what we hear on the news, we don't know what to believe. We don't know what's happening. We don't know where they are. And we're just always trying to keep figuring this out. I'm in a dorm right now with 3 of my other roommates, and we're just all trying to figure everything out. We're sitting around trying to listen to everything. It's really scary here. Yeah, this is my other roommate here. Hi, I'm Seth.
Hey there. I'm sorry that you're even dealing with this. We're live on the air here on Fox 2, and we just want to say that our prayers, our thoughts, our concerns are all with you all right now on campus, and we're just so sorry you have to deal with this. Could you tell us where you were when all this unfolded, and how you're doing now?
Well, I was about to head outside of my dorm, and I was with my roommate, and then I got the notification on my group meet from my RA, and he was like, everyone's staying inside. We have like a shooting lockdown. And then we got the MSU email saying that there's an active shooter. So we just locked our door, and we just stayed in. We barricaded our door just in case. And then my roommate actually opened the radio, and we just kept hearing things getting worse and worse. It was getting scary because we started hearing the police outside, and it was just getting louder and louder, and everything started getting confusing once we got on social media. So just a crazy day.
In terms of keeping track of one another on campus, that has to, I imagine the SMS and the text messages are on overload on the campus of Michigan State University. You're just checking on everybody that you know. I can only imagine, even though I'm a few years removed, right, from being in college, I just remember how much you care about your friends, and you think about, oh, what about this person? What about this person? A lot of checking on one another, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I've just been calling my friends pretty much this entire night, trying to figure out where everybody's at, how everybody's doing. I've had maybe dozens and dozens of text messages, mostly just me talking to my mom and to my parents especially, just trying to let them know that everything's going to be fine, hopefully, and that they're going to catch them and everything's going to be okay in the end.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that phone call was like to your parents. I'm sure they were very relieved to hear from you.
Yeah, they were. It was great to talk to them and be able to tell them.
Well, we thank you for your time today. The news conference, thank you very much, both of you, for talking to us on the phone. And please stay with us if you can near your phone. Charge up those batteries, though, too. I know that you'll be texting many more people who are much more important than us in your circles and in your family. But know that we're all praying and thinking about you all on MSU's campus tonight. Thank you. All right, so the news conference was supposed to happen at midnight. There's been a delay. Okay. There's
20 minutes.
A 20-minute delay, and when that news conference happens, you're going to hear some of what you've already heard about 5 people being shot, 3 others dead. At this point, we're just trying to figure out exactly what's going on with the search for the suspect. Sure. And that's perhaps why there's a delay. Perhaps there's some movement in trying to figure out what's going on with that suspect who we keep showing on TV.
Yeah, one would hope that they have narrowed down a location or possibly closer to apprehending him. Some capacity.
And likely they will probably have some additional information. That's why it was delayed. In the meantime, though, we do have the latest information on these numbers. We have it on the screen. There was 5 wounded, 3 dead in the shootings. We know there were 2 separate locations, Berkey Hall, and then it went over to the Union Hall where he also opened fire. It is very sad. All the students are sheltering in place at this point, And we know that there are multiple police agencies, including the FBI and ATF, that are on trying to track this individual down. We are going to get an update likely in about 15 minutes now or so on this person. We're hoping to hear that the suspect has been caught.
You know, there's a worker at the MSU Union who wants to remain anonymous who was concerned about the location. He recognized right away when he saw that picture of the suspect, that area where you saw the suspect, the stairwell, and he says, look, that's actually a back loading door facing Grand River Avenue. And so that door that he was leaving from, that stairwell, was facing, according to the person who works there, he recognized it, and he says he's concerned about that doorway always being left unlocked. And he said it's been a concern for some time, and now he's concerned that perhaps that unlocked door could have been a way for this person to get in. Although we should point out that the MSU Union is open late into the evening
Yeah,
hours.
it's not a dorm. For people that don't know, I mean, we all know because we all went there, but you know, it's a social gathering place with restaurants and a bowling alley, if it still exists. But you know, this is a place where people gather, right? And so it's going to be populated.
But with this, luckily with the surveillance images, they are probably likely able to know, and that's why they did, that he was leaving north side of the building and taking off on foot there because they were able to track the surveillance.
Right, we're just getting the still. They have the video to watch, and they could see, hopefully track his movements better.
And the surveillance that they're showing us, this image, Dave and Taryn, obviously is one image that tells a bigger story, as you say, but they're going to be able to tell not only where he left, but then other surveillance cameras can catch where he was headed from there. That trail of cameras, which is something that didn't exist years and years ago, is really kind of like the
trail,
crumbs, the trail that you're kind of searching as you go and try to find this person. Hopefully they'll say in this 12:20 news conference or so, that's when we believe this will happen, that, hey, this person has been caught. That's what everybody is hoping for. And that would allay some of the immediate concerns that these students and parents have on campus of this person still being out there, because as of now, the suspect is still at large.
Yeah, and you know, another note for all those parents there. I was speaking with Lieutenant Shaw. He says, when you get that message to fight, run, and hide, you're also trained, as students are nowadays, to silence your phone so your ringer doesn't go off. So if you're having trouble getting a hold of a loved one in all the chaos and the panic, they might have silenced their phone and just not remember to turn it back up. And you know, hopefully you are able to get in touch with everybody that you're trying to. But if not, that might be a reason to. Again, just another note to not try and go to this campus. It is locked down for all intents and purposes. You cannot get on it. People are being turned away. We heard a report of a parent that is having to look now for a hotel room because they could not get there. So if that's any indication of how secure it is at this moment, I think that police have a good handle, at least on the campus.
You know, at the student union, clearly this suspect isn't anywhere close to the student union right now. It's been well over an hour, I think, since they said, hey, you know, we caught this surveillance video of him at that stairwell. So clearly the search does continue. You think about for a moment the 45,000 plus students who are on campus, this one suspect who is moving about the campus and off campus, and now think for a moment, Dave and Taryn, about the number of law enforcement agents from across the state that have descended onto this campus. The ratio is incredible. The force that they have is incredible. They're going to be able to pinpoint and really see where this person went using each other's resources, including drones and command centers, communicating with one another in a way that you just haven't seen in such a great concerted way. So that should be some, I guess, solace for the parents out there who are watching.
You know, I'm looking at video on social media that's going around that it does very much look like the suspect wearing the same outfit with the backpack on that as well. Out in basically not appearing to hide whatsoever if it is the same person. We don't know what time it was taken.
Sure.
But people are sending videos, we're told, of him walking around campus. So this individual doesn't appear to be hiding, so to speak.
Yeah,
if that is indeed him.
If that's a picture of the person who's just so brazen to walk onto a college campus at a little after 8 o'clock tonight and start opening fire not in one location but two. Someone who just leaves after shooting at multiple people in one building, Berkey Hall, at about 8:18 p.m. Then from there moving to the Student Union Hall, and then shooting again.
Right.
And then from there leaving. This is someone who doesn't have a lot to lose, it seems. The guy that we keep talking about, as you see here again, we keep showing you the picture, but if you're just watching, if you're just tuning in, they believe this is the person who's responsible for the shooting that killed 3 people and injured 5 others on the campus of Michigan State University in the 8 o'clock hour tonight, wearing a short, wearing a denim jacket, red shoes and a baseball cap. A short male, appears to be a black male that was caught on the surveillance camera.
The last alert that came out was 11:34 p.m. from MSU, the police department, regarding the incident. And it says a person is actively shooting at the East Lansing campus. Follow the run, hide, and fight guidelines. Secure in place. Turn cell phones to silent. Remain quiet. And mention the description as well of this individual. We are waiting for an update. The presser we initially told you was going to be at midnight. It has been delayed. We're hoping to hear from Michigan State University Police, the Public Safety Department, the Deputy Chief, and possibly Michigan State Police as well in about 10 minutes.
If we could just ask the producer, Aaron, to cue up if he can, unless he has other ideas, please talk to us in our ear. The video that we have of Sheriff Bouchard talking about the resources that are now there, trying to help locate this person, trying to help in any way they can. I know that the sheriff basically said to us that, look, we understand how important it is to have all the boots on the ground. Yeah. And that's not just boots on the ground. We're talking about drones and all kinds of equipment, and that's what he's hoping will help in this investigation. MSU Police, as we all know, is a wonderful, you can tell, a great organization with a lot of heart. They need help in this particular instance, and they're getting it right now. Take a listen.
Bouchard, what is the latest in terms of how Oakland County is helping?
We got asked to send resources, and so we're going to send everything that we have available to do whatever we can to assist.
What do you tell the parents of Metro Detroit, parents of MSU students, in terms of the facts? They're really wanting to know what we really know right now. What do we know?
Well, I think it's really hard to say what we know at this point. In the initial phase of anything, as it starts to unfold, no one really knows exactly what's going on. And the initial information that comes in is oftentimes not factual. So I would urge them to, in communication with their kids or students, tell them to shelter in place, to do what they need to do to barricade their doors and do the things that we've taught the community until we get a better idea of exactly what's going on. Know that the whole world is headed there. We're sending our resources, our SWAT. I'm headed there. We're bringing drones, our mobile command, anything that could be of assistance. And if we don't need all that, that's great. If we need all that, then it's going to be there with us.
How many people would you say are coming from Oakland County to head over there?
I can't even put a number on it. A lot.
Yeah, you're talking like probably hundreds of or dozens of deputies.
Well, I know dozens are already on the way, but the page is going out to get more of our special assets, our SWAT, our tactical people, our armored personnel carriers, any kind of equipment. I have some of our drones being boxed up. Anything that we can possibly think of, we're going to send. If we don't need it, that's fine. If we need it, it's going to be there. If they need it, we're going to be there. So we're all headed that way.
Sheriff Mike Bouchard talking to us earlier tonight.
And right now, though, we're going to check in with Randy Wimbley. We understand he is live near Lake Lansing Road at a potential scene. Randy, what do you know?
Hey guys, we're over here at East and Lake Lansing. I want to show you what's going on behind me. This intersection is blocked off. You see a mass of police cruisers there. An EMS unit just rolled out of here a few moments ago. So this is scene just developed about 15 minutes or so ago. We just got wind of it about 10 minutes ago and raced over here from Sparrow Hospital. We believe that this may have something to do with, obviously, the suspect for this mass shooting at MSU. Nothing from police just yet, and this could be very well why that midnight briefing was postponed, because of the developments that are happening here right here. And I'm just hearing that one of my colleagues just confirmed with MSU PD that the suspect was found dead. That's what we suspected, what we heard. Some unconfirmed reports. I heard it from another source as well. My colleague Jessica Dupnack just now confirming it with someone else, that the suspect was found dead here near East and Lake Lansing. That's why you see all of these police cruisers here, and likely his body was in that EMS unit that just rolled out of here shortly before we came on air. Again, this scene, this development just happening. Police, from what I understand, found the suspect here, but it's unclear at the moment if they found him with a self-inflicted gunshot wound or if when they confronted him, he took his own life at that point. That much is unclear, but we can say with a great deal of certainty from sources that I have, what Jessica Dupnack, a colleague, what she heard, what she is confirming from someone else, that the suspect in the shooting at MSU had a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That is the cause of this scene here, and he was likely in the EMS unit that just rolled out of here about 5 minutes ago. And so likely that is why that press conference at noon was postponed. Again, we're at East and Lake Lansing, a couple of miles away from the campus. While we were at Sparrow Hospital, we saw a few police cruisers jet from that location, racing down the street, coming over here, and now we know and we can see why.
Randy,
3 people dead, 5 people injured. They are in Sparrow Hospital with serious injuries. Roop, go ahead.
No, Randy, thank you for summing that up. Yes, it's just a terrible, dark day in mid-Michigan tonight, in Lansing. This scanner traffic that we had heard initially was something along the lines of this person may have shot himself. It's not clear tonight if that's what happened or he was shot by police. That's still unfolding, right?
I'm hearing that he may have, this was a self-inflicted gunshot wound, but we don't know that for certain. We have not heard that coming from the chief of MSU PD, so we can't say with certainty how it happened, but that he was somehow shot, whether by an officer or a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was shot some way, somehow. And we saw an EMS unit roll out of here about 5-7 minutes ago.
And I think that was coming also from scanner traffic. Randy, a lot of people had said that he was spotted on Lake Lansing Road near Larch. Police approached him, and when they did, that's when he may have taken his own life. We're waiting for confirmation. At 12:20, we're told that the police are going to update us with a press conference. We plan to stream it live. But it seems like when you're looking at that scene behind you, it does not seem like a scene of urgency. It does seem like perhaps that is the case.
Well, and so in light of that, and I'm glad that you pointed that out, when we first arrived here, before we got our camera up, this scene